Before you continue with this video, I wanted to take a quick second to show you how to navigate to different topics. If you come down to the timeline, you can use your mouse to navigate to different sections of the video. Additionally, you can come down and select the chapter and select which chapters you want to watch. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video.
So the contracts module is broken out into two different pieces. One is the contract request, then one is the actual contract document. So the contract request, this is a new feature to UND. Prior to this, there was no, the contract request simply came via email or just a phone call or some sort of different medium. But now they're all going to come through the contracts module, and the contract is actually the last step in the process. So initially, department's going to say, hey, I need to buy this certain product or service. They'll get in touch with, they'll fill out a sourcing request. This is all if it's over $10,000 or $5,000 for IT. And they'll get a hold of procurement. We'll do some sort of solicitation, or if it's an alternate procurement request fits, we'll do that. But that still fits under some sort of procurement action. And then we'll go through that action. Then at the end is when we'll fill out the contract. So once that procurement action has happened, that contract request gets completed. And that's what we're going to go over first, is that contract request. So to start, this medallion here is the contracts module. Anything contract related is going to be in here. To locate the request, there's two places. One is under request here. You can go request contract. There's also some functionality to search. We'll do that here in a minute. I'll show you how to search your contract request. The other location we have is over here on the right-hand side. You'll see request contract. We're going to go ahead and just select that. It's going to open up a pop-up window, and it's going to ask you to name it. So we've been trying to name them. So if you're looking at it, you know exactly what it is. There's not a ton of length of room here, but let's say it's a service agreement for X instrument. And you'll be a contract request. And we can rename this if we need to. So don't be alarmed if you type it and you're like, oh, wait, we don't want to use that anymore. So, and then this first page you're going to come to is the instructions page. I'll briefly go over here what we're asking you to submit a contract request for. There's three things that have to apply in order to fill out a contract request to get it into the contracts module. There are a few exceptions. We won't go over all of those today. We'll just go over the three main reasons. First one is already mentioned, is if the product or service exceeds $10,000, or for IT $5,000. And as Dave mentioned, this is the total contract value, the initial cost, any recurring costs over the life of the contract. So if it's a 5-year contract, a 1 year with 4 1-year renewals, that means it's a 5-year contract. That total cost is what we're looking for. 2 is if the purchase is not a one-time purchase. So if you're buying, product that's, even $125,000, if you're only buying it once, we would not put it into the contracts module unless there's some certain circumstances that would fit there. But generally speaking, that would not go in. And then again, a procurement method has been completed. As I mentioned, the contracts module is the contract request is one of the last steps in the process. So some sort of procurement action should have happened. And again, don't fill it out for one-time purchases, or if it's less than the threshold. And then for renewals and contract amendments, we're asking that you just reach out to the contract manager. Do not fill out a new request. Just simply reach out to the contract manager. And I will show you here in a little bit how to identify who the contract manager is for a specific contract. We'll just continue walking through the request here for now. Here's the name if you wanted to change it. For now, that'll be good. And any attachments you have, go ahead and submit that. If it's say terms and conditions that were provided by a supplier that you have a maintenance agreement with, you'd put those in here. We don't have any today. And then the questions, are going to kind of walk you through what to do. They're pretty self-explanatory here. So today we'll skip past these first three. These are basically asking, hey, does it meet these three criteria that we just talked about to be able to put in the contracts module? If you hit yes to any of them, it's going to tell you what to do, saying that, oh, hey, it doesn't fit the certain criteria. So here's what you have to do. Try to guide people. So you're just going to go through and fill out different sections here. And has another question about IT again. That'll reference it at the bottom. This question about credit cards. This is for PCI compliance. This isn't asking, hey, do they accept a credit card as a form of payment? It's asking, are they going to accept credit cards on UND's behalf, payment on UND's behalf, or are they going to maybe accept student payments? Those are a couple of the things that we're looking for there. You may see this question get reworded. We're trying to find the best way to reword that. And then down here, you'd pick the commodity that best fits. I think we put instrument, so we'll pick lab equipment. And the procurement method, you're going to go ahead and pick the method that best applies. For this one, we'll use the alternate procurement. We'll stick on that method of procurement from Dave's training. So moving on, it's just a description, just a simple description of what we're looking, what it is. So you'd put, an instrument, what is the instrument? You might put in the serial number of what it is. So that way, okay, you can open it up and say that's what it is, or maybe you want to describe it a little bit more so we understand what it is. You'd put that in here. Total contract cost has some help text here. Price per unit, we're looking for, is this a contract where we're just trying to memorialize a set of products or maybe it's an hourly rate for a service? We're trying to capture that, and we don't know what it's going to be because it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Then you'd put price per unit. Or if it's a service, you'd put total cost has been identified. So that way we know, okay, the total cost has been identified. And it's just a one-time cost. And work group, there is some help text here. You're going to always select purchasing. If you select the wrong one, that's okay. We can change it. So don't be alarmed if that does happen, but purchasing is what you're going to want to select. Then the terms of the contract. You should be aware of the terms of the contract. So if you're submitting a contract request, we're assuming that you've read through it and kind of the overall terms of it. It doesn't mean you have to understand each and every nuance or term. That's what we have a legal department for, and that's what we're for. But overall understanding, what are they essentially are they going to do, and what are you going to be paying for it? Are there any additional terms, length of time term? When's the start date? When's the end date? Are there any renewals? Those are the main things that we're looking for here, for you to know here. So we'll just pick the start date. Let's just say it's tomorrow. And most contracts do not have an expiration date, or excuse me, do have an expiration date. So you're likely going to select expires on. If it has no expiration, we're going to have a few more questions because we very rarely have those types of contracts. And let's just say it expires in a year. And we also don't like to automatically renew our contracts. We like to review them. So typically it's going to be no. If you hit yes, we'll have a little bit more of a conversation as well. And any renewal terms, I'll skip that for today. But if there's renewal terms, you'd put in, if it's 1 year, I'll put it in. And then how many renewals are there? Let's just say there's 4 1-year renewals. So that means it's a total of a 5-year contract because it's 1 year is the initial term, 4 additional 1-year terms. Any additional notes you'll put in here. And then here's the supplier information. We're not requesting a new supplier, so you'll search for your supplier. And then if there's an additional second party, this is usually only for construction projects where you maybe have an architect and a contractor, but sometimes it's in other contracts. But most of the time, you're only going to have one UND, and then the second party is the supplier. Then we're looking for the contact for that supplier. Who have you been working with? put that in there, their name, email, phone, and address, so we know who to reach out to if we have questions. We'll reach out to the supplier and have some further conversations if more negotiation needs to happen. And then if this person is not the signer, then you'd hit no, and we're asking for who the signer is. And if you don't know that, you can just simply, put, hey, I'm not sure, hit no and say, I'm not sure who the signer is. And then, we can try and track that down. Unless if conversations you've had, ask them and see what the supplier says. Then the last section here is going to be the IT tracking number. We selected yes, it's an IT purchase. So you'd put the IT tracking number in here that David mentioned before. And these questions are strictly IT questions. Does this software store private or restricted data? If you hit yes, it's going to ask for a HECFAT. These things should already be done. So the IT, a non-standard purchase form, should have already been done and approved before you get to the contract request step. So if you get to this step and you realize, hey, I haven't done this yet, you can just save your progress and you can go out of it and you can come back at any time. But for today, we'll assume that, hey, we have done it, everything's done. We put the form number in there and we are going to ask for, this is just asking for confirmation. Yes, I've attached both the HECFAT and the approval email and the VPAT and approval email. So that could be up to four attachments just for that. And then at the end, you'll see, a typical checklist. Is everything done? Let's say, yep. So I'm going to complete my request. Then it's done. It should automatically take you to the request page. I'm going to be able to view a little bit more here. So you'll see here, this is currently where it's sitting. This is the date and time that I submitted it, and then the person who submitted it. But let's say you're on the home page and you want to find out, hey, I want to check, it's been a couple of days, where is that at? Come to the contracts module here, got down to requests. Then you can search my contract request. You can also do search contract request, but it's easier just to go to my contract request. And then I have it sorted for newest at the bottom, and you'd be able to open it up, go to your workflow, and you can tell, hey, here's who it's sitting with. And you can tell, you can reach out to them and say, hey, have you had a chance to look at this? Or maybe you just want to keep track of it. You can do that. Otherwise, again, it will show you your status here and what step it's in and who it's assigned to. And say you come into here and you don't find that, and you're wondering where it's at, you reach out to procurement and let us know, saying, hey, I can't find this approval. Where is it? It might be in a box for us ready to create a contract. I don't know if you guys have access to this. I don't know if anybody outside of contract managers have access to this. If you do, it would be in here. If not, then just simply reach out and say, hey, I don't see it. What happened to it? It likely didn't disappear. We're probably just working on it. One more thing I want to touch on is roles. For the contracts module, we can have different approvers for the contracts. So right now we have department approvers set up to look at things under certain circumstances. We can also do a contract approver. If that is different from the department approver, then we ask you go to the home page and then fill out a access request form. So that way we know, okay, we want to add a contract approver, and here's who it is. It's different from our department approver. And again, just want to emphasize one more time that the contract is the last step in the process. So if none of the procurement actions have happened before this, then don't do a contract. Get those steps taken care of before we get to this.